Hey everyone, welcome back to After I Lost You. I'm Matt Smith, your host. I want to say a quick thank you to everyone for the love and support as I've been getting this podcast started. For those of you who know me, you know I'm a pretty quiet spoken person, and so doing something like this is quite out of my comfort zone. I just feel like I have a story to tell that can hopefully help other people. Thank you for whoever's listening to this and following my social media pages. It seriously means a lot, and thank you for all the kind messages and comments that people have been leaving as well. For today's episode, I want to share mine and Carli's story, from how we met to the life we built together, and what it was like to be lucky enough to call her my wife and live by her side. So I knew Carli for 10 years before she had passed, and those were the best 10 years of my life. She changed my life, she changed who I am, she blessed my life in every aspect. I'm the man I am today because of Carli Ann Blake Smith. I just want people to know who she was and what our story looked like in hopes that it will help someone out there. Carli and I met in 2015 at Pleasant Grove High School. She was 16 years old and I was 17 years old. She played on the girls' soccer team, I played on the boys' soccer team, so we kind of knew of each other through that. But we really didn't start to hang out and date until we did a double date with some mutual friends. So shout out to Tyson and Rachel if you guys are listening to this. I will forever be grateful that you set us up on a double date and planned those double dates with Carli and I. From there, I started spending a lot more time with Carli. We started going to high school dances together and would just spend a lot of time together at soccer or after school. Very quickly, we started to fall in love and became high school sweethearts. We dated my whole senior year and Carli's junior year. The summer after I graduated, we spent a lot of time together as I prepared to go on LDS mission. We knew that I was going to leave for 2 years, and so we tried to pack in a lot that summer. Probably saw each other almost like every day before I left. I then left on my LDS mission for 2 years. To be completely honest, when I left, I thought there was no way Carli was going to be single by the time I got home. And so I kind of left with the mindset like, that was my time with Carli. I enjoyed being her high school sweetheart, but she's going to be married by the time I got home. So I had left, and by some miracle, we wrote and stayed in contact my whole mission. The night I got home, Carli was there. She came to visit me, and we just picked up right where we left off. We then spent about another year dating each other and enjoying life together. During this time, we were both working part-time, going to college, just kind of trying to figure out life. I felt like I had already fallen in love with Carli in high school, but after I got back from my mission, we had both changed in a lot of ways. And so we had spent this time like kind of re-falling in love with each other because we both felt like we were different people. And so I actually really loved this time of getting to know Carli and seeing what she was like as, in college, and just spending more time with her and falling in love with her all over again. Then in April 2019, I decided to propose to Carli, and she said yes. Shout out to our friends Henrik and Savannah who helped get that all set up and let us do it up at their place in Idaho. This was one of my favorite memories ever with Carli. We were then engaged for about 5 months as we prepared for our wedding. On August 15th, 2019, Carli and I got married and sealed for all time and eternity in the Draper, Utah temple. This was the best decision I ever made in my entire life, especially now as Carli has passed on to the other side. It brings me so much comfort and hope knowing that when it's my time to pass, Carli will be there on the other side and we can still be together. I know I will see Carli again. After Carli and I got married, we decided to stay in Utah to finish school, find jobs, and stay close to family and friends. We spent 5 years of marriage together before Carli passed. We packed in a lot of memories and life experiences in those 5 years. One of our favorite things to do together was travel. We made a goal to travel a lot before we started to try to have our family and have kids. We did so many trips together, just me and her, and also with our families and friends. I wanted to go through and share a few of our favorite trips, or at least the most memorable trips for me now that she's gone that I look back on. Our honeymoon to Hawaii was awesome. We absolutely loved it. We went to the Big Island in Hawaii, spent a lot of time there just doing hikes, trying good food, going to the beaches. We really always looked back on that honeymoon trip as one of our favorite trips. One year, I surprised Carli to a trip to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to a country music festival. For those of you who know Carli, you know how much she loved country music, and so there's a music festival going on that had Morgan Wallen, Thomas Rhett, Luke Combs, some of Carli's favorite country artists, and so I had surprised her with tickets as we went out and did that country music festival. That was one of our favorite trips, something we always looked back on as well. I surprised Carli with another trip to California one year as well for her birthday. We went to a Harry Styles concert and spent time at Disneyland. That was one of our favorite trips. I loved seeing Carli just fangirl out over Harry Styles. She always loved One Direction and always loved Harry Styles, and so that was a special trip. Carli loved going to Lake Powell. Every year, her Blake family does a trip down to Lake Powell, and this was probably hands down her favorite thing to go do. She loves spending time with the Blakes. She loved being at Lake Powell, just being in the sun, being on the boat. And our favorite trip we did together was a trip to Ireland. My family's from Ireland. I used to live in Ireland, and so our whole marriage we talked about going to Ireland. I'm so grateful that we made this trip happen, end up being our favorite trip together. It was so fun to take Carli to Ireland, show her where I used to live, introduce her to some of my family, and just drive around Ireland and go see all the scenes. On that same trip, we hopped over to England as well to go see a Liverpool game. I'm a huge Liverpool FC fan, and that was one of my favorite memories with Carli. I don't know if she loved it as much as I did, but I loved being at Anfield and in Liverpool with Carli. I will always remember that. I don't know if it was Carli's favorite trip, but she took the time to go to Liverpool with me, go to a game with me, and she had such a good positive attitude about it, and that's just who Carli was. We did so many more trips to Hawaii multiple times, to California multiple times, Florida, always going up to Idaho to visit her family in Idaho, always going down to St. George to spend time with her sister and brother-in-law and niece. Carli loved just to travel and be out in the sun as much as possible. Carli would tell you it's not a vacation unless there's a beach and sun. Family meant everything to Carli. We enjoyed so many trips with her family, and these were always her favorites. She just loved spending time with her siblings, with her parents. We made so many good memories. Carli absolutely loved holidays as well. Spending holidays with Carli was so fun. One that always sticks out to me forever will be Halloween. Carli loved Halloween, and she always loved planning our couple's outfits together. She was so good at putting them together and planning it all out, and they always looked so good. She also loved Christmas. Christmas time with Carli was the best. She was a great gift giver. She always had activities planned. I was always looking to do Christmas things and spend time with family. She also loved Easter, and her testimony of the Savior during Easter time will always stand out to me. One Easter, she had shared her testimony of the Savior on Instagram, and after she had passed, we had come across it, and it was so meaningful and powerful and fitting for the situation. We actually ended up putting that quote, Carli's quote, on the back of her headstone, and that will always stand out to me of how she was willing to share her testimony of the Savior and how much Easter meant to her, and Christmas and the other holidays that we celebrate the Savior. She also loved 4th of July, as she loved watching fireworks, and we would spend time in Lake Powell with the Blakes over 4th of July week. In February 2025, Carli and I found out that she was pregnant. We were so excited to be parents and start our little family. I had never seen Carli so happy in that way when we found out that we were pregnant. I actually have a video of it and have shared it on social media, but in the video you can see just the happy tears from Carli the moment she's realizing she's going to be a mom. And in the 10 years that I had known her, I've been through a lot with Carli. I've seen her cry. I've seen her through all of her different emotions, but I had never seen that specific emotion tied to her being pregnant and her becoming a mom. We were so excited to be parents and start a little family together. About 10 weeks later, Carli passed away, totally unexpectedly. She took her last breaths right here in this room, actually, where I'm recording this podcast, right behind me on this bed. It was just me and her in here. And I just held her as she struggled and took her last breaths in here. As I peacefully watched her pass to the other side. About 3 months after Carli had passed, we got her autopsy reports back and found out Carli suffered from a rare disease called pulmonary arterial hypertension, PAH for short. Carli and I had no idea she even had this disease. Carli lived her life not even knowing she had this disease. PAH affects your arteries and shrinks them. So your body has to work twice as hard to get the proper oxygen and blood flow to your heart. And that's what Carli was dealing with. Once we got pregnant, Carli's body was then working even harder to keep herself alive and the baby alive. Her body simply could not keep up. Losing Carli and the baby was the hardest thing I've ever experienced and continue to experience in my life. There's nothing that can fully prepare you for an experience like that. It was sudden, it was quick, it was heavy, and it's completely changed my entire life and my entire world. One day I had my person and we were starting our family together, and the next everything was taken away from me, and I am left here alone. Since I've lost Carli, everything feels quieter, heavier, and unfamiliar. It's hard to put into words what it feels like exactly, but I know deep down inside I need to keep moving forward and keep showing up every day. Carli would want me to. When you lose someone so close to you and someone that you love so deeply, the pain can be unbearable. But the only option is to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I feel like I'm living in my own hell, but I make a conscious effort and decision to keep getting out of bed each morning and keep living a life for Carli, one that honors her and one that makes her proud. What I always come back to is how grateful I am that I got to love Carli and I got to spend the time that God gave us together. I got to experience life with her. I got to call her my wife. And even though she's not here on earth anymore, her life still means everything to me. The way she loved, the way she lived, the way she made people feel. Her smile would light up a room, and she was a light everywhere she went. If you met Carli, you loved Carli. That just doesn't disappear. I carry that with me every day, and I carry her with me every day, and I will the rest of my life. I wanted to share all this because I want people to know who Carli was and who Carli is. I want people to understand the story behind why I'm here and why I'm doing this podcast. It's Carli and Jesus that gives me strength to continue forward. So if you're listening to this, thank you so much. It really means a lot. I'll see you guys next episode.